Donald Trump will be the one in the Oval Office.
Hello, everyone.
But Elon Musk plans to be pulling the strings.
Let's talk about DOGE. Okay, but you should know these two things. The DOGE hearings are starting today, and while DOGE is being run by Elon, so together you have a dotardly swamp monkey working with a man whose SpaceX has been given billions by the federal government in charge of what to cut in the federal government.
If you have received billions of dollars in contracts from the Pentagon, and the president's directing you to look into the Department of Defense, is that a conflict of interest?
Yes, which we definitely need to do and are going to do at the president's request.
Does that present a conflict of interest for you?
No, because you'd have to look at the individual contract and say, first of all, I'm not the one, filing the contract. It's people at SpaceX.
That's like asking Lauren Boebert to sit next to you at the movies.
In the month after Trump was elected, Musk's personal fortune jumped by over $180 billion.
And then this junior high dropout in charge of hearings that could shape the size and scope of the federal government for decades? Really?
The generations of Black and Hispanic men, do you want to know what holds them down? Gangs.
We have an Islamic invasion into our government offices. They want to put their hand on the Quran and be sworn in? No.
She suggested the Parkland and Sandy Hook school shootings were false flag operations and that the attacks of 9/11 were staged. She touted conspiracies from the fringe group QAnon.
I just want to say to Nancy Pelosi, she's a hypocrite, she's an anti-American, and we're going to kick that bitch out of Congress.
Now, I find it ironic, of course, that our chairwoman, Congresswoman Greene, is in charge of running this committee. Now, in the last Congress, Chairwoman Greene literally showed a dick pic in our oversight congressional hearing, so I thought I'd bring one as well. Now, this, of course, we know is President Elon Musk. He's also the world's richest man. He was the biggest political donor in the last election. He has billions of dollars in conflicts of interest, and we know that he is leading a power grab, also abided by and encouraged by Donald Trump and, of course, the chairwoman, Congresswoman Greene. But I also want to run through what DOGE actually is going to do. It's a demolition plan that's going to run through our government. DOGE is trying to abolish the Department of Education. That means opportunities denied to kids. It means you're ripping away opportunities for children with disabilities who are dependent on this money. You're also halting medical research, which is also critical, which we have to also stop. The idea that we're going to eliminate or destroy the Department of National Institutes of Health, NIH, is crazy. Let's talk about the Department of Labor. We're talking about protections for working people across this country, where people can actually complain about abuses their companies are making against them and their coworkers. Workers are now going to be in danger. And let's also talk about the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Another huge issue for us. Think about the scammers and fraudsters that will be empowered across this country because Elon Musk wants, essentially, these companies have more power over consumers and over people across this country. Look at the Centers for Disease and Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. That is actually what's being discussed partly today. Healthcare, we're talking about being denied to millions of poor people, working class people across this country. And now, of course, they're on to their largest target, the U.S. Social Security Administration. We're talking about the destruction of the actual social safety net in this country. We know that 1 in 5 Americans collect Social Security, seniors, disabled people. This entire plan is about hurting the American social safety net and destroying our institution.
Yeah, Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, is cutting U.S. aid for the poor in Africa, cutting the budgets and manpower in the CIA, FBI, and NSA. He's eliminating NIH research on cancer, bird flu, and other pandemics, and demanding anyone who criticizes him to be arrested. But that said, he's an excellent dancer. Here, Musk is emasculating tiny fingers while his kid picks his nose and puts it on Trump's desk. Actually, Trump promoted the kid to cabinet level if he promises to stop wiping boogers on his Rolodex.
Yeah, we're talking about $100 to $200 billion a year.
Sure.
Serious money.
Mr. Musk, you said on X that an example of the fraud that you have cited was $50 million of condoms was sent to Gaza. But after fact-check this, so can you correct the statements? It wasn't sent to Hamas, actually. It was sent to Mozambique, which makes sense why condoms was sent there.
Yeah.
And how can we make sure that all the statements that you said were correct, so we can trust what you say?
Well, first of all, some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. So nobody's going to bat 1,000. I mean, we will make mistakes.
Of course he makes mistakes. He is a mistake that one of those condoms might have prevented. Musk is squeezing democracy out of the U.S. like we're a grapefruit. And with inflation up and the stock market down and none of the eggs that Trump promised, he's bragging on Trump's first month.
For the last 3 years, Donald Trump campaigned on lowering your costs. Do they feel lower? Does anything about this hearing get us to lower costs? You were promised cheap eggs, and today you're getting cheap shots.
Because for whatever reason, we had a guy that went in, and you talk about people invading our data. Listen, people said that they were upset about TikTok, but I'm upset about the guy that runs Twitter, who for sure is doing nefarious things, because I don't understand, if you are trying to conduct audits and figure out where the waste, fraud, and abuse is, I don't know why you would go to some tech guy. In fact, it was only techies that were sitting there at inauguration. We didn't have auditors. I would welcome auditors to come in and do forensic audits. In fact, he sat there in the Oval Office yesterday and he admitted that he was lying, and he was using his propaganda machine to do it when he said that we sent millions of dollars to Gaza for condoms. That was a lie.
Trump's cuts aren't about efficiency, they're retaliatory. Diaper Don even admitted that he's going after watchdogs and whistleblowers and even the press because he doesn't like what they say, which is that he's a cheating, crying cockwaffle.
Yesterday, Donald Trump banned the Associated Press, a 179-year-old newspaper organization, from the White House because it declines to call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. This is straight-up press censorship based on retaliatory viewpoint discrimination. Trump's DOD kicked out 8 news groups that had space in the Pentagon, but which asked skeptical questions of the new secretary, including the New York Times, NBC News, and the Washington Post, all ousted in favor of outlets willing to faithfully advance the party line of the state, like Breitbart and One American News Network.
Say what you want about Musk, who, like Trump, is a sociopath, but putting this half-witted hump of a human in charge of anything above calling in a pizza order is insane. She lies about things of which she has absolutely no idea and are provably wrong, and sounds like she's been drinking Boone's Farm since she was 9.
Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Greene, who is now like a big mover and shaker in the Republican Party, is promoting a bizarre conspiracy theory about a mysterious they, you can imagine who that is, controlling the weather, suggesting that they are sending hurricanes to Republican areas to impact the election. Like someone is sitting at some computer somewhere pressing hurricane.
Oh yeah, Elon?
As President Donald Trump becomes the first sitting U.S. president ever to attend a Super Bowl game live.
And that's what we're facing. But, and here's the kicker, judges are beginning to push back against Trump and his attack on these 100-year-plus democratic institutions. And MAGA is crying, saying that Trump's power should prevail.
It seems hard to believe that a judge could say, we don't want you to do that. Well, so maybe we have to look at the judges, because that's very serious. I think it's a very serious violation.
But here's the skinny. Many of these judges came from Republicans like Bush and, oh yeah, tiny fingers.
Here's what I think is a joke. That you have these partisan hack Democrat attorney generals, they get together, and the only thing they know how to do is try to nullify the results of the last election by venue shopping these district court judges. They find the most lunatic liberals they can. They file lawsuits knowing full well they're going to try to usurp the president's authority, tie this up in court for years. Donald, I hope you're happy.
Lunatic liberal judges like a George W. Bush appointee, like a Ronald Reagan appointee, like a Donald Trump appointee, like another Ronald Reagan appointee, like another George W. Bush appointee.
I mean, is there anyone, even the First Lady, willing to step up and stop this ridiculous charade with Musk, a sociopathic, undocumented immigrant who has incredibly close ties to China with hundreds of billions in cash? Who or what's going to stop this guy? I didn't pick him, did you? Well, apparently the kid did.
That's a good one.
Damn right.
I'm as mad as hell.
Whether the women like it or not.
Suck my fat one.
And this guy's personal life is a total disaster.
Trust me.
Shut the fuck up, Dan.
Who's with me?
Oh, yeah, the lie.
Indictable.
Out of sheer morbid curiosity, I'm allowing this freak show to continue.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong? Yes.
TikTok.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.